Welcome to RainierAvenueRadio.world. This is our weekly broadcast of the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. We're going to talk to you today initially about surrounding communities. We've been doing this since March 13th. And there doesn't seem to be any let up. As a matter of fact, there are now surges taking place. And as we head into the colder winter months where everyone is going to be more likely to be indoors, we're going to find out again how this is impacting our communities and just keep you aware for your safety about what's going on. Joining us a little later in the program, we'll be talking to Evan Bush, who's sharing information about vaccines coming out, but then also how are we going to get the confidence of folks to take this vaccine when it does come out. We'll also be talking to Hugo Garcia, Economic Development Manager for King County. We're going to talk to you about a $10,000 grant that's available for businesses in unincorporated King County. Closes on the 28th, so you'll have an opportunity to hear from Hugo about how you can apply for that particular grant. And right now, we're going to be talking to Adelheid Arbogast. I'm going to make sure I say that name correctly. Adelheid, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. And you are from Homage Senior Services, Foster Grandparent Program. Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio.
Thank you.
And you are the Grandparent Program Coordinating Director for AmeriCorps Seniors over King and Snohomish County. The Homage Senior Services Foster Grandparent Program. Why don't we start by finding out a little more information about you and your background and how you ended up where you're at now?
Wonderful. Well, I do have a background in early childhood education, and I worked in a nonprofit organization, Child Care Center, for 14 years. I was a director over a large facility. And when I had my own kids, I found I needed a break from that. And so I moved into a different realm, and I worked with a lot of seniors as a personal assistant, helping to write memoirs and just do a variety of activities as a personal assistant. And when we moved from the Oakland area up to Washington, and I found this job on a job search, I thought this has to be for me, because I love seniors, and I, as a mom and as a previous child care worker as well as director, felt like this would be a perfect fit. And it's been fantastic. I really enjoy it.
All right. Well, let's start with Homage. Homage Senior Services. Obviously, we want to talk about the Foster Grandparent Program, but let's learn a little bit more about Homage and Homage Senior Services and what y'all do and provide, where you're located, all that information.
Okay, so Homage Senior Services is located in Linwood. They generally provide most of their services to Snohomish County. However, they do have 2 AmeriCorps grants, and both of those grants cover King and Snohomish counties. And we actually have most of our volunteers from the Foster Grandparent Program and Senior Companion Program from King County.
Okay. Well, now here we go. Foster Grandparent Program. You hear that and you think, well, what does that mean? Are grandparents being fostered into homes or?
Right. Yes, we do tend to have some people a little bit red flag with the word foster, but basically we have these wonderful seniors in our communities who are such a treasure and so valuable, but they're underutilized. They have wonderful life experiences. They have just so much to offer. And AmeriCorps Seniors, which is the seniors branch of AmeriCorps, is trying to reach out to the communities and get these seniors involved to help their communities, because there's so much that they have so much time and they have so much knowledge. And so the Foster Grandparent Program finds seniors to serve at schools, daycares, homeless shelters, any type of nonprofit organization that works with children 0 to 21 years old can participate in the foster grandparent program with no cost to them. And they receive these volunteers who go either into the classroom. Right now we're serving virtually, but they go and they help these nonprofits to fulfill the goals that they've set for their students. So if it's a school, they help with schoolwork. If it's a Boys and Girls Club, they help socialize. And the value for everyone on every end is amazing.
Wow. We know that we're going to be working with the Foster Grandparent Program in regards to students for our Student Election Connection. And Mary Floyd is joining us as well. Mary, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Under the circumstances, I'm fantastic. Now, we're going to be talking about we're going to learn more about the Foster Grandparent Program, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the coronavirus pandemic has affected how you function and how you operate. But Mary, let's find out a little bit more information about you as well. Tell us about yourself and your background.
Well, my background is in human resources, and I work for banks and insurance companies here in Seattle, raised up on Beacon Hill, my parents. But I have worked mostly in banking and insurance. But then after I retired, I decided I needed to do something to help the community. And since the children, they are my heart. So I decided to find something that involved children and do it. I also went back and got certified to work with children. So now I work, I volunteer. That's what I do. And I just love it. And I knew that my passion was with the children. So that's why I just ran through the internet there, and I found first I was with Catholic Community Services, and I still do some things for them when they have it. Like this summer, we had a volunteer program at the Yesler Terrace through Catholic Community Services, and I serviced there. It was the very first time that I ever used Zoom with children, but it was very motivating and it was very positive. And I was wondering how it was going to work with the pandemic and helping the children. But you know, I love the teachers and the children this summer. It worked wonderful. And then after the end of the session, I was so excited because one of the parents came up and was telling the teacher how much her children had excelled with our summer program. And I would do one-on-one, about 20 minutes a day with the children on Zoom. And that was really self-motivating and gave me a sense of self-worth, because I could see that I was still helping the children academically succeed with the pandemic, but with the virus right now. Mm-hmm. But even though we have a pandemic, tutoring them online, they get it. Because on Wednesdays when we would have a session that I could read a passage, I was always wondering if the children were getting it. But after I would finish the passage, the teacher would always ask them questions, and they did get it. So I know during the pandemic, foster grandparents, we still have skills and knowledge that we can help these children get through this. It can be done because we work along with the teachers in the classroom, and that one-on-one attention that foster grandparents can give to the children, they just love it. And they excels. And I noticed that the time I share and spend with children is just going to, it depends on how we spend our time with them in a positive way. And that's going to shape our future for tomorrow. And that's where my heart is.
You're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.world. It's me, Tony B. This is our special broadcast that we do every Friday of the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. Joining me right now are Adelheid Arbogast, Program Manager for the Foster Grandparent Program, and also Mary Floyd, Foster Grandparent Volunteer. Mary, I want to ask you. You've worked. You got to the point that you could retire, but yet and listening to everything that you were saying, you went right back into volunteering your time when you could just be relaxing. Tell us about the passion that you have, or the reason why you chose to get re-engaged into building community, and in particular, working with youth.
Well, I feel that if I can just reach one child, that's one child is a winner situation. That's for both of us. And I figure if whatever I could do to help to shape tomorrow, I needed to be out there doing it, because I have no grandkids, but I could spend the time helping other children, because we know that the children that we have in our classrooms now, that's going to be our future for tomorrow. And as much time and energy that we can invest into those children and showing them the positive way in life is going to help them. And reading and math is one of the pathways to their success. And without that, they can't be successful. So that made me want to give up the retirement and go out and volunteer. And I will do that because I know that I have something to offer to these children that can help them and help our community.
Wow, what a great story. Adelheid, is that kind of similar to the volunteers who join Homage Foster Grandparents Program, or are there a variety of reasons, and you might want to mention some of them, why folks participate?
There's a variety of reasons, but I gotta say that Mary is, well, I'd love to take her home. She's so lovely. I want her to come and spend time with my kids. But in general, you'll find that these volunteers, they're not doing it for anything other than just the pure joy of being with kids and helping their communities. We do have a lot of foster grandparents who do not have children, or who do have children and maybe their grandchildren are grown or they don't live close by. And so they would love to, make these wonderful connections with their community. And they love, they go into a classroom and everyone calls them grandma and grandpa. And so we really love that's something that all of our foster grandparents have in common, is that they all want to help out. They know their value. They know that they have so much to give. And so while everyone may have a little bit of a different situation, it also does help with isolation. It also helps with isolation during this pandemic because a lot of the seniors that are staying home, they can reach out to others and have some interactions, whereas normally they'd just be quarantined to their home at this point in time. So it's really a win-win on many levels. The teachers really appreciate having that extra person to be able to assist doing some one-on-one or small group interactions, or even just reading a whole story to the class while the teacher gets a few more things ready for the next portion of the lesson. It helps the kids because the kids love hearing from somebody different, somebody new. And kids gravitate towards the elderly, I find, and they want to know someone new in the classroom, and it to them it's like a classroom grandma, and it's very exciting for them. So, yeah.
Again, we're talking about the Foster Grandparent Program. How long has this been in existence? Is this something that's nationwide? Is it unique to Linwood?
So this is an
Not
AmeriCorps. Program from 1965. It
five.
has been, she knew it. Um,
1965. Did you say
so yeah, it's been
1965?
floating around to all. The grant has been available in, I would say, almost every state, but I'm not high up there in AmeriCorps. But generally available throughout the United States since 1965, and it's facilitated by small nonprofit organizations. So that's why you might not hear so much about this program if it's only being facilitated in certain areas. I do know that Homage Senior Services has had this program for 4 years. We've held the grant and facilitated it for 4 years. And prior to that, it has been in the area, but it was facilitated by another nonprofit. So it just depends on which area and how much marketing they're going to be doing and outreach so that their community knows about it. We try and do as much as we possibly can to get the word out there, to talk to teachers, to talk to communities, and reach out for additional seniors. We're always looking to bring on board some amazing seniors who would love to join in and make a difference in their community through working with children.
If you are interested in giving us a call and joining this conversation, you can call us at 206 290 9685. Again, that's 206 290 9685. 206 290 U5, YOU5. Now, you said 1965, and I'm thinking to myself, there are probably participants who started out as students. And at this point,
Probably. I do know
our
we have a
participating
lovely
grandparents.
volunteer. Yeah. We've had a
Yeah.
lovely volunteer who has been in the program for 29 years.
Wow.
She's a lovely Mandarin grandma who has been serving in downtown Seattle area.
Wow. Um, Again, you know what this program is about. We love to bring it, different folks in from all walks of life to find out what they're doing. And in addition to that, everybody has been impacted by the coronavirus. Now, you're dealing with the population that is vulnerable.
Yes.
How has the coronavirus impacted what you do? And if you can take us back to when this initially became something that the governor said, hey, this is what we're facing right now. We're about to go into lockdown. We didn't have all the information that we have available to us right now, and we still don't have information. It has not even yet been a year, so we're still finding out
Right.
about this virus and what it's doing and how it's reacting with a variety of different people and then what the after effects are. So when this started, what happened? What were you going through? What was the mindset? What were you thinking way back in March?
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Mary.
Well, I felt that I was going to be isolated in the house, and I didn't want to, but being able to work with the children on Zoom, I don't feel isolated because I see that I'm helping them to continue their learning academically, even though we have the pandemic. And that's the one thing that I really enjoy about working with the children on Zoom. It keeps me from feeling isolated, even though
Mhm.
I'm in the house, but still I'm helping the children and helping the community.
So when it first started in March, actually our Mandarin volunteers heard about it sooner because they're watching the television from China, and they're
Mhm.
hearing about it from relatives. And once we got word, then we put everyone on hold and asked everyone to stop serving. We told all of our volunteers that we're going to wait to hear what the governor says. So it did put a quite a big stall on our program
Mhm.
because we do treasure our seniors, and we didn't want them out in the community if this was something that was going to be very dangerous for them. So we had put them on hold. Then over the summer, we started reaching out to some of our, we call them stations, they're schools, daycares, and various programs. to see what they were doing, to see if we can participate virtually. We purchased extra laptops, we purchased extra Wi-Fi devices, and we started to have meetings where we would practice Zoom and Teams and a few different other ways to meet with our volunteers so they could get some experience, and so that we could see them and see how they're doing and they could see us. We normally meet once a month for a 2-hour meeting, and it's a nice check-in. It's a nice time for everybody to get together and know they're part of a bigger program than just them in their particular school. So we stopped our monthly training visits and we did them online. I personally really missed that. The best part of my job, the administrative isn't always as fun, but the best part of my job is to actually see these volunteers each month. And so for me, I was actually quite, it's an energy they give me. And so I was actually quite drained because I really missed seeing them on a monthly basis and hearing their stories and hearing the impact that they had in their schools. And so once we were able to reach out to some of the schools, the stations, and try and make those connections again, we realized we can do this. And I'm quite surprised at how tech savvy quite a few of our volunteers are. I know I needed to learn a lot of things and they needed to learn a lot of things, and we learned it together. And slowly but surely, we're getting more and more schools involved again. Because of course, when the school year ended, we didn't have those connections. But once the school year started and teachers are getting used to it, we're able to get these volunteers in back into the classrooms and contributing again.
Everybody was having a problem with
Right.
this.
Right.
And just listening to you, it sounds like that was a major adjustment
Oh yeah.
that you had to make. And I want you to talk about that. And then the other thing, I'm just saying, you're talking about Wi-Fi and internet and purchasing laptops.
Mm-hmm.
And then the group of folks who you're talking about training are seniors. There are folks who say those two things don't necessarily work out to work together too well.
I would disagree. We have
All
a
right.
lot of very resilient seniors. We have seniors. Mary, oh my Lord, Mary is hysterical. She's like, I don't care that we haven't figured this out yet. I will stay on this call until I figure out how to do this. And we worked for hours together trying to get
we got it.
Our audio working on a Teams meeting. She and I were able to see each other but couldn't talk. And we worked, but we do have Homage does have an IT team, and they're able to help us out. They're the ones that purchase the laptops. They're the ones that load everything in and are kind of on standby for us to call them on a regular basis and ask them questions and say, what do we do? And, how do we collaborate? And where can we, meet? Where is a kind of a common ground where we all can at least start from scratch? So it's been a wild ride. I personally, Homage closed their doors to employees, most of them, not all of them, but they, for the sake of the pandemic, they had most of us start to work from home. So I myself am working from home. My husband is working from home. We're grateful to have kept our jobs. We know there's so many in the community who did not. And then we have 3 teenagers who are, distance learning. So we get that, the understanding of the frustration of the parents, because we're those parents. And we get the gratitude of having these volunteers be available. Mary works in a kindergarten program. We can't really say their name online, but just for confidentiality's sake, but she works in a kindergarten. And so we have volunteers serving in kindergartens. We have volunteers serving in elementary schools. We have volunteers serving in a continuation high schools. There's almost something for everyone who's interested in participating in this program.
You're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.world. Our guests joining us are from Homage Senior Services Foster Grandparent Program, Adelheid Arbogast, Program Manager for the Foster Grandparent Program, and also Mary Floyd, volunteer for the Foster Grandparent program. It feels like we just got started and we're almost out of time. I want to give both of you the opportunity for final words, but I got to get this in there. You're talking about you had to buy a lot of equipment, and a lot of places were shuttered, and folks, lost jobs. Did that impact Homage at all? And again, with the resources that you suddenly had to come up with, how were you able to deal with all of this?
We were given an additional transference of money from the previous grant to this grant, because once things kind of were put on ice until we figured out what was going on, a lot of that money was not being used for the program. So AmeriCorps allowed us to carry over that money from one grant period to the next and utilize that. So thankfully, we were able to, just transfer some money from one grant to the next and use that for the funding. As far as Homage, we are all, there's 27 different programs, social service programs, there's mental health, there's home repair, there's just a huge variety of social service programs available to seniors. And most of those are funded through different grants or through our grant team finds either grants for them or fundraising events for them. And though our event in March was canceled, our largest gala event, we actually ended up receiving so many donations from the community and from corporations that we made just as much as we had the year before.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're very grateful to that, to our community for all that they give and all that they donate, so that we can keep our seniors active, we can keep our seniors engaged, and we can provide for them the way they had provided for us when we were younger.
Now, unfortunately, Mary, I'm only going to have about 15, 20 seconds, but I got to hear some final words for you if there's something that you want to say to our listening audience right now.
Well, I found that if you can connect with the children's heart, everything is possible and positive. Because during this usual time, it's hard for the kids. But if you can show them the pathway to success, even in this pandemic, I mean, they are happy and they listened. And the thing that gets me is they are getting it. Just because of the pandemic, the children are still excelling because they love that attention one-on-one with the foster grandparents. And it makes me so elated when I notice that they are getting it. And that makes a difference in my life and in their life and in our community.
And really quickly, thank you, Mary. And really quickly, Adelheid, for someone who wants to find out more about this program, grandparents who may be listening who want to get involved, or someone who might want to donate, if you can just really quickly share that information with me.
Yes, you can connect with us at homage.org. And you can also give a call to our foster grandparent program at 425-514-3188. And you can, I assume there'll probably be a connection on your station website as well.
Yeah. Thank you both for joining me. All I can say at this point is y'all have to come back and let's get an update. All right?
Great. Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time.
We'll be back to talk to our next guest from King County Local Services, Hugo Garcia, the Economic Development Manager, about a grant that's available, $10,000 if you are operating in or working in unincorporated King County, right after this.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not explaining to my intern exactly what R&B is, I'm listening to RainierAvenueRadio.world.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
The number of people to have died from COVID-19 in Brazil has passed 150,000. Per BBC News, Brazil has the second highest coronavirus death toll in the world, right after the United States, and the third highest number of cases after the United States and India. The country also passed 5 million total infections earlier this week. Brazil has by far the highest numbers of deaths in South America, and the state of Sao Paulo has been the worst hit. President Jair Bolsonaro has been accused of downplaying the risks of the virus throughout the pandemic, ignoring expert advice on restrictive measures. He has also been criticized for minimizing the threat of COVID-19, including by calling it a little flu. The president has repeatedly rejected this criticism, even when he himself became ill with the virus in July.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please visit our website at www.RainierAvenueRadio.world for further information about resources and who you can contact regarding domestic violence. There is also a national domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-7233. Again, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233.
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, all day Saturday.
This is Edwin Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the cabinets.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Star Time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pearson. This is Star Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour. K-Fox Night.
Looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the Fox.
Fresh Juice. D-Money in the crew.
Myself, D-Money. Nice Eyes Patron.
Taylor Hart.
This is Spencia. The Northwest Rap Game.
DJ Medina. Chad Cheddar.
Come on.
Northwest Rap Game.
Sergio LaCour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Going to the phone lines. Hello, who we talking?
Sea Monster Radio. Mo Jams. It's your jam.
We're live. Welcome to Moji on Mondays. This is KZ of KZ Music Media. Caller Goddess for Moji on Mondays.
Just my opinion. God is inspiration. Music all day and all night. Saturdays on RainierAvenueRadio.world.